Good morning, everyone. Please take some time to scan the QR code. All right. A few years ago, I left home. I left my family, my friends, and everything that was familiar to me. I began a journey thousands of miles away from the people I had always known and loved. I did not know what the future held for me. I remember those first few days at Purdue. Everything was new. I was trying to figure things out on my own. I wondered who I could turn to and how I was going to navigate this new chapter of my life. Then, I attended this orientation. I remember sitting where many of you are sitting today. I saw a group of graduate students on this stage talking about Purdue and an organization called the Purdue Graduate Students Government. I did not know much about PGSG at the time, but what I saw looked like a community. I remember thinking, I want to be part of that. Somehow, a few years later, the student sitting in the audience, wondering where she belonged, ended up standing on the stage. This year, I have the privilege of standing here again, serving a second term as president of the Purdue Graduate Students Government, and welcoming another class of graduate students to Purdue. I tell you that because at the beginning, I could not have imagined where this journey would take me. And you probably cannot imagine where yours will take you either. So whether you came from right here in Indiana, somewhere else in the United States, or you are totally new to the US, I am glad you are here. So I officially welcome you to Purdue. I know you have probably been hearing a lot these past few days. New information, new people, tons of emails, and classes have not even started yet. One thing I learned very quickly is that graduate school can become incredibly small if you allow your department to become your entire Purdue experience. And that is also where PGSG comes in. We represent graduate students across Purdue, in West Lafayette and Indianapolis. We advocate on issues that affect them, work with university administrators, and connect students with resources. But PGSG is also a place where we want to hear from you. If something is affecting you as a graduate student, talk to us. If something is working, we want to know. And if something is not working, we definitely want to know too. And if you simply do not know where to go with a problem or a question, still reach out. We may not always have the answers, but we can also point you and help you figure out where to start. As you begin your term here, I hope you also remember that you are not just coming into a graduate community that already exists. You are going to shape what it becomes. PGSG will change because of the students in this room, and so will Purdue. Some of you will bring forward issues we are not even talking about today. Some of you will start things that will still be here long after you graduate. So, as you begin your journey at Purdue, find your people. And when you find your place here, leave it a little better for the students who will come after you. Welcome once again, and boiler up. My name is Shalom Ablavikpechu, and I'll be your MC for this morning's program. To continue our welcome this morning, it is my pleasure to introduce to you someone who has been a strong advocate for graduate students at Purdue. He serves as Senior Associate Vice Provost in the Office of the Graduate Students and Postdoctoral Scholars. Dr. Rolock, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Shalom. Good morning. No, good morning. No, good morning. This is a great day. This is a wonderful day. This is the first day that changes the rest of your life. So I'm very pleased. My name is David Wallach. Let me sort of move that on. Thank you. Oh, please sign in. But my name is David Wallach. I am the Senior Associate Vice Provost for graduate students and postdoctoral scholars. So I'm pleased to welcome you to a great day, a wonderful day, an important day. My responsibilities as Senior Associate Vice Provost include administering what used to be known as the Graduate School, the Office of Graduate Students and Postdoctoral Scholars. I chair the faculty committees that set graduate policy. I also oversee the Office of Graduate Assistants to help students navigate issues and concerns that come up for them. But I'm also a professor of psychological sciences. I have my own lab, I have my own graduate students, and I do my own research. I'm also the liaison between Purdue and the Big Ten Academic Alliance graduate deans as well. So I also have a named professorship. Well, it goes back and forth. I also have a named professorship for teaching and learning because for me, one of the fundamental things that ties all of this together is education. The education that you're about to, oh, thank you very much, that you're about to continue on at this point. Education is the foundation that ties everything together. Now, up until now, your education has been fairly basic. It helps you keep yourself alive. It teaches you how to be a human being. You learn the basics of your culture, and all of you have done that well. That's why you're here as graduate students now. Your formal education, your formal academic education, gives you the fundamentals that you need, not just for basic citizenship, but gives you some foundation in the disciplines that you want to pursue. You're here at a top university precisely because you have mastered those fundamentals of your disciplines, be it STEM, be it humanities, be it social sciences or behavioral sciences. But there's more. Not just being a snappy dresser like Albert Einstein here. See if we can move forward. There we go. But the fun stuff starts here. Your education from here on out is special. You've learned the academic basics. You've shown the curiosity. You've shown the talent to contribute your own ideas, your own experiences, your own discoveries to the banks of human knowledge and understanding. Those ideas, those discoveries, those experiences have the potential to move our fields, be it STEM, be it humanities, be it social behavioral sciences, in new directions. With what you learn and the new directions that you take in your graduate education, you prepare yourselves to enter your respective fields as professionals. And that's amazing. That's why this day is such a great day. There we go. Oops. Thank you. There's another clicker. Okay. Now, when you start this new experience, as you start this new experience and get the good stuff that comes from graduate education, it often begins with some uncertain places. And let's see if we can do that. There we go. So when I was getting ready to start graduate school, and again, you can compliment me afterwards on how good I looked, we had to, no, I won't say we didn't always wear tuxedos to graduate school, but it often began with some of the same questions, or the questions that occurred to me was probably some of the same questions you have right now. My uncertainties and questions had to do with, you know, do I really belong in a place like this? Is my competence sufficient to make me competitive in this kind of an environment? You, after all, are starting, as I did, at a top graduate school that's well known for turning out people who can make an impact on their fields. If I'm not, or if I need help, where do I get the resources to be able to be helpful with? Where are my supports going to come from? And what are my next steps after I finish this education? Now, like you, I had learned the basics of being part of society and being a good citizen, but my questions and my uncertainties nonetheless were there. Now, my answers for some of these questions come from some of the same sources I'm going to recommend to you today. My answers in my case, first of all, comes from my upbringing. I come from Brooklyn, New York. So the Midwest was not my place when I arrived here at Purdue. But I learned a lot of things from my parents, from my peers, my church, my neighborhood. I also got my supports and my answers from my graduate institution, which also had sources of support. They had a graduate dean, they had a department head who cared for me. And they also came from my PI, who's on that far end, a fellow by the name of Edmund Gordon, who still to this day, at 105, is much more productive than I am. But my graduate institution, Yale University, and my graduate advisor, nonetheless provided the support that helped me move from the foundation that I had from where I came from to be able to tackle the world of graduate education. And so in that sense, I was prepared to enter the field as a professional. And at Purdue, I've had a good run. I've been the director of our clinical psychology training program, doctoral program. I've been the head of the Department of Psychological Sciences. I've chaired our teaching academy. I've been chair of our Purdue Black Caucus of Faculty and Staff. And most recently, as I said, I am essentially what would have been known in the old days as the Dean of the Graduate School. I'm an senior associate vice provost for the Office of the Vice Provost for graduate students and postdoctoral scholars. So all of that helped me to answer the questions that I have and answer the insecurities and the uncertainties that I have. So what's going to be available for you? And your available resources, first of all, start with OGSPS, the Office of Graduate Students and Postdoctoral Scholars. In that space, we are committed to your success. We're committed to making you successful. The Vice Provost in the title of OGSPS is Haley Oliver-Jiske, who you can see up at the top there. She's the Senior Vice Provost for Academic and Student Success. So she is the one who is over the graduate school as well as over teaching and learning for undergraduates. So if you do run into her, tell her I'm doing a really good job, okay? Just make sure. She is my boss. But I also work with two excellent assistant vice provosts. Dr. Kevin Gibson, who is a plant and botany specialist, and Dr. Melissa Franks, who's also a psychologist in the Department of Human Development and Family Studies. And between them, they're responsible for portfolios including graduate admissions, records, fellowships, professional development offerings, some 300 of which you'll hear about a little bit later on today, postdoctoral scholar experiences, among other aspects of OGSPS. So make sure you check out the QR code that's at the bottom here to get a full sense of everything that OGSPS has to offer. But bottom line, these are people who are committed to your success from OGSPS. Of course, a huge resource for you, as it was for me, will be your PI, your major professor, your mentor, your advisor, alongside the resources of your program, your department, and your college. Of course, beyond those, Purdue University has a host of resources, some of the most important of which will be described again in presentations later on today. But finally, one of the things that sometimes gets overlooked, and I want you to pay attention to, is that your peers play a great role. Your classmates, your lab mates, the friends that you meet on campus, the friends that you meet today. All of those play a huge role in your success, your experience through the time here at Purdue. So what do you need to do in order to take advantage of these and to make the most of your Purdue experience?
And the best advice I can offer is to immerse yourself. Dig into it, lean into it. Immerse yourself actively in this exciting time in your life. Find the opportunity in the challenges that no doubt will come about. There will be difficult times, and even some failures potentially along the way. But use those as opportunities to learn and to grow. Make sure you take advantage of all the experiences and the opportunities that the Greater Lafayette area and Indianapolis have to offer you. There are farmers markets, there are festivals, there's an IMAX theater, there are concerts, plays, shops, parks, cultural events, restaurants, all here within reach of you. Read the papers, check the local websites, pay attention to the announcements that take advantage of local resources here and in Indianapolis. At the same time, there are responsibilities that you have as well. Educate your peers. Educate and support the others who are in your network. In the same way we expect them to be your supports, you need to be supports for them as well. Be the help that other people need to help them follow their paths. In my experience, graduate education is a team sport. No one does it alone, regardless of what some people might suggest. We each must find and share the experience that we have, the gifts that we have with others around us. Another thing that's crucially important, and one of the signature elements of our Office of Graduate Education, is to seek help, to seek mentorship, seek support when you need it. Ask for help when the times get difficult. Don't be proud. Don't be seduced by the myth that success comes only from your own individual unassisted strength. Now, one of the final things that I'll offer to you as a way to make the most out of this experience that you have, that makes this a great day, is a key value that Purdue has as well. Observing freedom of expression. Purdue values and it has policies that support the idea of freedom of expression. What this means for you is that, as outlined here, each of you plays a part in upholding this value, promoting the free flow of ideas that make graduate education the engine of our research, the engine of the growth of our disciplines. And freedom of expression is that foundation that all of you can play a role in. You can express ideas, even controversial or unpopular ones. You can challenge other people's ideas, of course, through respectful debate. You also have the capacity to listen to different opinions and different perspectives than yours, even ones that you disagree with. And you have academic freedom. And that freedom allows you to explore ideas, explore things that are new and different in your research. Now, of course, there are important boundaries. This is not unrestricted. Obviously, expression should be limited if it violates any laws, if it directly threatens or harasses someone, if it disrupts university activities or invades others' privacy. But the key point is that Purdue University won't silence ideas because others find them offensive or wrong. Instead, we encourage free expression, free discussion, free debate. Now, ta-da, okay. More concretely, and perhaps most concretely, how does this play out in terms of what you do on a day-to-day basis? 3 things that I encourage you to do. Engage respectfully, participate actively, and support others' rights to do the same. Your voice matters. Bring your perspective to discussions. Your voice is important to add to the free flow of ideas that are out there. Disagreement, interchange is healthy. It leads to better understanding Respect this process, even when you strongly disagree. All right, let's see what we got. There we go. So if you want to learn a little bit more about these ideas, please click on the QR codes for getting a better sense of what that means and what Purdue's commitment is like. So that will be again, as I said before, the foundation of what it is that you need in order to do this piece of your experience well. So with that, ta-da! Welcome again. This is a great day. This is the first day of the rest of an important life that you can live. We welcome you. We hope to see you around campus. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the orientation.
Thank you, Dr. Rolock, for your ever-inspiring words. You will probably spend quite a bit of time researching during graduate school, and Purdue Libraries has much more available to you than you may even think or imagine. To help you make sense of what is there, we are joined by Dr. Clarence Maybe, the Associate Dean for Learning in Purdue Libraries and Information Studies. Welcome, Dr. Maybe.
Good morning. So again, I'm Dr. Clarence Maybe, and I am the Associate Dean for Learning in the Libraries and School of Information Studies. And as Dr. Rollins said, we need to sort of dig into it. And I'm here to tell you about the resources and services that the libraries offers that kind of, I think, help you along your journey, right, as you dig into it. Is that working? There we go. Oops. No, there we go. So there's 10 libraries here at Purdue. Some of them are rather small, and depending on your field, you might find one that you spend a lot of time in and that you probably want to get to know the people at that library. The two main libraries, the larger libraries, are the Humanities, Social Sciences, and Education Library, which we affectionately call the HISSE Library, which is actually just next door in this same building. And the Science and Engineering Library, which is in the Wilmuth Active Learning Center, which is down the way, that way. And so a lot of you will probably spend time in those spaces. But we have other things as well, and you might take a look, and like I said, depending on your field, there might be a place where you also spend a lot of time. Okay, so this is the main sort of library portal, right? This is when you go to this page, the QR code would take you to, that's our sort of federated search, where if you search in that box, it's looking at all the sort of journal databases and all of the book catalogs that we have at Purdue, or almost all of them. So if you're kind of looking around for something, it's really the best place to start when you're searching for things, because it'll show you sort of the wide scope of things that are available. So I always start here. Sometimes there might be a specific resource that you end up using a lot because it's the one used in your field, and that makes sense too, but often it's good to start here. And I just wanted to say a couple things about what you'll find on this page. So if you see, if you look down a little bit, there's a link that says quick links for grad students. And that page is a page that, and the link to it, the QR code for it, and the link is on the next page, next slide. But so that is really a list of resources that we think that are most meaningful to grad students. So you might take a look at that. Actually, the other message I think I really want to get across is that when you're needing materials for your research or your study for learning, the libraries will work with you to get whatever it is that you need, right? And often as grad students, you might need some very esoteric things that maybe we don't have them here, but they exist somewhere in the world. You came upon them on a website and you know they exist. So the very first link on that page, the quick links, is called Interlibrary Loan, and that's where you can request materials that we don't have. If you see that we don't have something, and we have a lot, but occasionally you'll come across something we don't have, you can request it, and we will, find another library that will give it to us, lend it to us, and we can pass it on to you. So if it's a book, it might take a few days to get, but if it's a journal article, often it comes within an hour. So it's kind of an amazing service, but really, as grad students, you'll probably avail yourself of that quite a bit. Okay, and I think we did it again. There we go. Sorry. One more. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into a few things. So the libraries is very supportive of open access. It's something that we really value, and as graduate students who are probably moving into publishing your own work, we wanted to say a few words about some options. So open access is right. When you publish something, you want it. Often, right, we pay for the things that we have access to here at Purdue, but some publishers nowadays, we have agreements with them where they make them freely available, and so more people are able to read them, more scholars, and it kind of expands the reach of your work. And it's something that we're really kind of leaning into, the libraries and Purdue, into trying to make as much work as possible accessible to as many people as possible in the world, right? So there's a couple ways that happens. So we have agreements with publishers, and that's the list on the right side there, where if you publish in the journal that they are publishing, then we can work with them to make it openly available to everyone through them, right? Just by publishing it in the journal. But another way that can happen, if you are publishing with a publisher that doesn't make things freely available, is we can also take an earlier version, usually, of your article, and we can put it in a repository here that people can come and find it and look at. And it usually, and you'll, as grad students, you often start to care about how many times your work is cited, and it usually increases the amount of times that people cite it because more scholars are able to see it, and so they start citing it more. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. Another similarly, right, in working with your data, if you're doing research and you're collecting data, we have a repository where you can put that data, and your whole team can have access and work with the data from there. And then if you choose to, and another, it's something the library supports and Purdue supports, is sort of later on, once you've published and you're finished with that data, you can make it available to others, freely available to others who might use it for a different purpose, or replicate your study or something like that. But that whole team, we have a data team, and they work with everyone to around any sort of data issue you might have. And so nowadays, there's a lot of government regulations about sharing your data. Sharing your data. Like when you get a government grant, it's a requirement often that you have to make your data available at some point. And so this team can help you sort of figure out what language to put in your grant and how to manage all of that. And then we have the resources in libraries to actually help you, as I said, store the data and make it available. And then lastly, I wanted to say that I introduced this as the Libraries and School of Information Studies. So the libraries actually offers a school, and we have an undergraduate minor, but we have 2 graduate certificates, and we also have a lot of graduate courses, particularly around data use. But the graduate certificates are in digital humanities, a 12-credit certificate. So if you're working in that space, if you're in humanities and you're kind of looking at things through that lens, you might consider working with our faculty, but also consider getting the certificate if it helps you sort of dig into, say, the method side of digital humanities, and you can, kind of do more. You can do your project with them, and they'll help you sort of think about how you might frame it and what method you might use. And the same with geospatial information sciences, so GIS. We have a certificate, that often we see as sort of, depending on your field and what you're doing, these things can really kind of help you, with the next step, right? If you get a certificate, and then when you're going for your job or your postdoc, that sort of thing, often that looks very good to show that you've kind of have done this extra work that is meaningful to, your dissertation and the kinds of things you're doing. There we are. Okay, that's it for me. So thank you very much, and welcome to Purdue. Boiler up.
Thank you, Dr. Maybe, for those valuable strategies. Graduate school comes with moments when you need support beyond the classroom, and knowing where to turn matters. Here to introduce you to resources available through the Office of the Dean of Students is Dr. Evans, Associate Dean of Students for Education and Advocacy. Please welcome Dr. Evans.
Good morning, Boilermakers. Really? All right, we're going to move on. As she said, I'm the Associate Dean of Students, Dr. Zaneffia Evans. Most students call me Dr. Zaneffia or the Dean with the hat because I always wear a hat. Southern girl from Georgia, that's my thing. All right, so let's talk about, I went too far. Okay, now I see what David was doing out here. Let's go back one step. So what I want to do in this session is tell you a little bit about the resources that we have in the Office of Dean of Students, and then tell you about a pillar program that I think is very important for students to focus on those pillars as you progress through your graduate journey as a Boilermaker. I want to introduce you to my boss lady, Dean Katie, and I think you all will receive an email from Dean Katie. She sends it out to all students at the beginning of the semester that will list these resources. And if any time you forget or you need to know, our email is very simple, ODOS, Office of the Dean of Students, ODOS at purdue.edu, and it will get to us in the department. We're located in Helen B. Schliemann Hall, which is directly across from this building, across the space where you might have seen the farmer's market on yesterday. So we're right across from there. We're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the office, and someone is always there during that time to assist you. You can reach us by phone, email, carrier pigeon, whatever works for you in your space. A little bit about the programs in the Office of the Dean of Students. So we are in the Office of the Dean of Students. I went backwards. Okay, let's go forward. Let's just move. Okay, there we go. I think we're there. I think I missed a slide, but we're not going to worry about it at this point. So let's talk about the services that we offer in the Office of the Dean of Students. First of all, a Student of Concern report. This report you can file as a graduate student on a student who's not attending class or you see a change in their behavior. On the flip side of this coin, this Student of Concern report can be filed about you from a professor or someone who's concerned if there's a change in your behavior. So it's not something that you're in trouble for, it's just we want to make sure that if you're having problems, that we can address those problems as they come up. So that Student of Concern report you can file. We've even had Uber drivers filing Student of Concern reports on students because they pick them up every day. They're not as chipper when they're conversing with them in the morning. So that is something that we offer. We also offer advocacy in emergency loans. Emergency loans can be up to $1,000 per visit, up to $2,000 per semester. Now, I did say this was an emergency loan. It's not a you want to go on vacation loan. It's not you want the new purse or pair of shoes that have come out. It is an emergency loan, and you have to owe the university less than $100 in order to get this loan. It's good for 30 days. You have to pay it back. You can have a payment system if you want, but if you borrow from us twice and you're late both times, you can never borrow from us again. So that emergency loan is in place for those emergencies that may happen as a graduate student. Also, we are working with our friends in the registrar for full withdrawal of classes, and we help you navigate resources as a student on campus. One of the things that I wanted to talk about that will be helpful for you as a student are absence notifications. This absence policy was put in place by students, both the Purdue Graduate Student Association and Purdue Student Government. They wanted to have something that they could take to the Senate to say, listen, we need a policy for absence. This policy is strict in what it will cover. If you wake up with a headache or a toothache, It's not covered under the policy. If, however, you have a ruptured appendix, you need to undergo cancer treatments, it's covered under the policy. So when we look at this policy, it covers grief. The first policy, it was implemented in 2019. I had the pleasure of working on this with a group of students to get this in place. This grief policy covers the death of a loved one. And I should say a death of a loved one that's human. I remember one of the first things I had when we put out the grief policy, a student lost their bird, their pet bird that they had for many, many years, and they wanted the grief absence. While I had sympathy, it wasn't listed. We didn't do birds in the policy. It's only humans that are covered in the policy. So you get a certain number of days that you can miss class under this policy. We also cover medical, and again, I talked about that a little bit. If you visit the emergency room, make sure you are provided with a note that says you need to be out for a certain number of days, or you can return to class on this day. That's the documentation that you'll need. If you go to PUSH, which is our Purdue University Student Hospital, they will not issue you an excused medical absence, so that is not covered under the policy. Jury duty, a lot of students I have been wanting jury duty. I watch all the shows, so I know. I've been wanting jury duty. They will not call me for jury duty. I even went down there to volunteer. They said it doesn't work like this. So just so you know, jury duty is not one of those things. And then we also have a military excused absence for students that need to perform their service in the military. We work with our friends in the Veterans Student Success Center. What I wanted to tell you about a little bit, some resources and steps to leaps here. Let's see. All right. Yes, so just a couple of links and departments in the Office of the Dean of Students. It falls under the Vice Provost of Student Life, so think about everything related to student life outside of the academic classroom is under our purview. A lot of students will come to us when they're having problems in their academic units. We're going to send you back to the academic unit, but we're outside of the purview of student life. Those are the things that we cover here. And my glasses are dirty, and I can't see that writing, so I'm going to turn around real quick. So we have the Center for Advocacy, Response, and Education, which is our care department. If you experience personal or physical-based violence, that is where you would go to talk to those people. We have fraternity, sorority, and cooperative life. We have one of the largest in the country. We oscillate between the first largest, second largest, third largest, depending on who's on probation, who's still active on campus. So if that's your thing. Most of you living off campus, if you're not liking the space where you're living, our off-campus housing links are great for you to find different places where you can be, that are affordable to you, that have the amenities that you want. You can take a look there. If you're looking for a subletter, there's a place on there where you can put in that information there. You can find that in that office. The Roger C. Stewart Center for Student Leadership and Development, Roger is still around campus, and I've known Roger for many, many years. He's really big on student development. If you ever have the chance to converse with him, wonderful guy to get to know. But in that space, you can take My Strengths assessment, and they can tell you what your strengths are, how you can use those strengths. They also hire students in most of these offices. They hire students or ambassadors to work with their programs, so that's one thing you can think about in looking in that space. We also have student activities and organizations, more than 1,000 student organizations on campus. We have a student legal services, so we do have one attorney, to take care of student needs on campus. Now, this attorney, you can see them about a lot of things, but if you want to sue Purdue, you cannot talk to this person. So just thought I'd put that out there as a public service announcement, but we do have that student legal services as a unit on campus. And then lastly, the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities that I wanted to mention. Most of you will never come in contact with this office, and we hope you never will. However, if you feel like the rules and regulations that Purdue have put into place do not apply to you, you will get a call from one person in our Student Rights and Responsibilities office. So if you do break the rules, you will hear from them, or if you see students when you're doing TA or other things and you suspect they're cheating, that is the office that you can report this thing to. So they are your friends in helping you to navigate those spaces. And then we have our cultural centers. There are 5 cultural centers on campus: the Asian American Research Cultural Center, the Black Cultural Center, the Latino Cultural Center, the Native American Educational Cultural Center, and the LGBTQ plus Center. And the last thing I want to talk to you about, the Steps to Leap's pillars. There are 5 pillars that we think are important that we start developing about 2018, 2019 that will aid in your success as a student. First of all, your well-being. Your well-being is important, and your well-being is about one person. It is about you. So make sure you do those things that help you balance being being in a space where you are mentally capable to do the things that you need to do. A lot of students will come to us. We have graduate students that come to us saying, I was depressed, I sat out of school for 2 weeks. Look at your contracts. So if you're under contract to teach or you're under contract to do research assistant, you sit out for 2 weeks, that contract might become null and void. So make sure you're taking care and doing those things to take care of your mental health in a healthy fashion. Next is leadership. Get involved with something. Your Purdue Graduate Student Association put this event on. That might be something you want to be involved in the future. So find a leadership opportunity at the university. Next, think about the impact. Your impact in earning your master's degree or your PhD, what that will do for you, for your family, for those around you. Lastly, build networks. You will need some people to write recommendation letters for you, so make sure you build networks. Get to know the people that are in your classes. My one piece of advice that I've been given for the last couple years, get to know at least 4 people in each of your classes, so if you have to miss, there are folks that you can get notes from, right? And so you need to make sure you have a connection there. And lastly, know that when you start on this journey as a Boilermaker, there will be things that you will do exceedingly well. When I was a graduate student back in I failed my first biochemistry class, an F. It was big and pretty. I had never received an F in my life on an exam. And so I had 2 choices. I can wallow in that or not. I went to the professor, found out what I did wrong. I ended up with a C for complete, and I was okay with that. That was my first C, but I was okay with that, right? So you will fail. How do you pick yourself up? How do you learn from that, and how do you move forward? So again, as you enter into this space as a Boilermaker, understand that there are things that you will need to know. Our office is here to assist, and I will end, as we do with all Boilermakers, boiler up, and you respond hammer down. We're going to do it again. Now the boiler goes up and the hammer comes down, so let's make sure we got it right. Boiler up, hammer down. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Evans, for highlighting the many resources available through the Office of the Dean of Students. You may have probably heard of the Disability Resource Center, but knowing that it exists and the resources on how it supports you are 2 different things. So here to share more with us this morning is its director, Mandy Grivey.
Good morning, friends. I have promised that I can do mine in 3 minutes, so we're going to see what happens with that. I also promised the lighting team that I would not do an interpretive dance this morning, but we were practicing backstage just in case. So my name is Mandy Grivey. I serve as the Senior Director of the Disability Resource Center. I know that I can't see you very well because of the lights, but how many of you have heard of the Disability Resource Center or the DRC or heard about it at your previous institution? I saw some hands go up really, really fast. Oh, yes. And then I saw some maybe. So our office supports students with all different types of disabilities. That can be learning disabilities, ADHD, mental health, medical conditions like depression, or medical conditions like lupus or IBS, mental health conditions like ADHD, oh my gosh, I have some concerns this morning, like anxiety or depression. We also support students temporarily. So like Dr. Evans was talking about, if you happen to get injured, we hope that that doesn't happen, but our office can support you temporarily while you are recovering. One thing that I like to really point out to our graduate students is there are a lot of misconceptions in graduate education that our office does not support you, that our office only supports undergraduate students, and that just is not true. We have seen significant growth in our graduate students connecting with our office in the last few years, and that is intentional because we have been trying to connect more with you. We do recognize that accommodations for you may look different. In your first year or so, wherein you're in the traditional classroom environment, maybe you do have exams, maybe extended time is an appropriate accommodation for you. But many of you may be more in settings like labs and research. You're starting to TA, you're starting to support other students. We can also support you during those time frames. So we can get really creative in working with you and working with your PIs and others of what does access look like within every environment at Purdue University, because it's really important that you know you are just as supported as our undergraduate students. We also recognize that mental health and this fake it till you make it attitude in graduate school is real, and we don't want you to be suffering in silence. The largest percentage of students connected with our office at this point are students with mental health conditions, and we want you to know that that support exists for you, it exists for your peers, and don't be afraid to ask for help. We do not want you to feel like that you need to figure it all out on your own, because you don't. The other piece and the last piece that I like to mention to students, because like I said, I'm almost at this 3-minute mark, we also will support you when you become TAs. There's going to be potentially a point in your career where you are getting letters from our office that have to engage with accommodations for other students. We have trainings for that. We have engagement opportunities. Your faculty of record will also be a good resource for you for that. And you don't need to be figuring all of that out on your own either. We are here to support you in any way that we can, whether it's your own academic experience, whether it's your friend's academic experience of getting them connected with our office, or whether it's a student's academic experience if you start to TA. If you ever have any questions about our office, it's drc@purdue.edu. We try really hard to make it as easy as possible to connect with our office. If you think you may need accommodations or you had accommodations in the undergraduate experience, if you go to our website, purdue.edu/DRC, we are on the first page, there is a box that it is the only box that has a black background and a white foreground to draw attention to it that says request an accommodation, and you are able to fill out that information. If you had accommodations previously and you think that you may want to continue them, or if you're just not sure, go ahead and start that process. We're happy to answer questions. We're happy to go ahead and get you connected, even if accommodations that you've had before may not translate 100% to the graduate experience. We would rather you be connected with our office and we start having that conversation than there be a time where you need them and they're not available to you, because accommodations are not retroactive. So if you do have something coming up and you wait until the night before to let us know, I actually need access to this, we're going to do all that we can to support you moving forward, but we are not going to be able to support you in that assessment or that activity or that experience. If you have questions or concerns, we will also be at the resource fair here in a little bit, and we are happy to continue to engage with you and assist in ensuring that your experience is an accessible experience here at Purdue. Thank you so much.
Graduate school can be challenging, but managing your money doesn't have to be. At Purdue Federal Credit Union, we're here to support you every step of the way. As a student member, you'll enjoy benefits like fee-free checking, digital banking, surcharge-free ATMs, and free Pete Pops at University Bookstore. Plus, you'll get access to tools and resources to help you manage your money with confidence. Whether you're building credit, saving for the future, or sticking to a tight budget, Purdue Federal offers student-friendly services, financial education, and real support. And when you need us, we're right here on campus, conveniently located in the Purdue Memorial Union and on Northwestern Avenue.
A huge thank you to the Purdue Federal Credit Union for sponsoring us over and over again. Now, you heard me talk earlier about finding a place beyond your department and how PGSD became one of those places for me. Well, now you get to meet some of the people behind it. Please welcome with me members of the Executive Board of the Purdue Graduate Student Government for this executive year.
Hi, my name is Christelle, and I am the Life Team Chair.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Obasanjo, and I'm the Chief of Staff.
Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm the Diversity Officer.
Hi, my name is Christopher Barber.
Ralph Rivera. Ajay Shah.
McGavin. Fan Wu.
Student government is really important because graduate students play a really pivotal role in the Purdue community.
PGSG is a wonderful opportunity to create dialogue and to share knowledge.
So I've been working with the Life Team. They're the event planning committee for PGSG. I think people get too involved with some of the stuff that they have to be involved with. So I like making events so people can get out of their office, get out of their dorm, and meet some new people.
I decided to join PGSG because I felt this is where grad students get their voices heard the most, because you essentially set agenda and talking points for the university senate that then gets discussed among the faculty and influential members at Purdue.
You know, we are from different backgrounds, different departments, but we have only one mission, that we want the graduate students in our university could get a better life.
I encourage anyone who's interested to join because it spans across the whole university. One of the great things about graduate student government is having access to people in different departments and being able to work collaboratively with them to solve some of the challenges we all face in grad school.
Welcome, Boilermakers. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of the traditions we have here at Purdue. First off, technical difficulties. First off is our mascot. It is indeed a train. The Boilermaker Special is the world's heaviest mascot. It first came about as an insult when Purdue went against Wabash 44-0, and we were accused of recruiting athletes through boiler shops. Next is Purdue Pete. He's our athletic mascot. In the modern day, it was difficult to transport a train for away games, so Purdue Pete is more travel size. Next is the bell tower. There's a lot of legends and rumors around this monument, but the most important one is that if you walk under it, you won't graduate in 4 years. Some think that this only applies to undergrads, but even grad students can be delayed by a semester or even a year. So maybe don't tempt your luck. Next, and finally, is gonna be the unfinished Block P. Initially, it was meant to honor students who weren't able to finish their time here at Purdue.
To make sure you all get started on the right foot, we want to share some resources with you. This slide has several, and I'll point out a few. We have the ACE Food Pantry, which always has food readily available for students. We have the Center for Advocacy, Response, and Education, which is there to support students that are dealing with interpersonal violence. We also have the COREC, which has to have the most outstanding facilities available on any college campus. Please make sure you're taking full advantage of all the resources that we have for you. We also have several different cultural centers. We have the Asian American and Asian Resource and Cultural Center. We have the Black Cultural Center, Latino Cultural Center, LGBTQ Center, Native American Educational and Cultural Center, as well as the Disability Resource Center. These places are really, really important to the campus. Please stop by when you get a chance. There are so many different things that you can do around Purdue. We have a skating center, we have a great public library, we have Wabash Landing 9, which is our movie theater. We also have several events that occur throughout the year, some of those being farmers markets. We have 3 different farmers markets. One is right here on campus, one's in West Lafayette, and one's in Lafayette. Additionally, if you'd like to spend time outside, we have several local and state parks that you can visit. Please feel free to take a picture of this next slide. It has all the websites and Instagram accounts for the resources that we had just mentioned. Thank you again to Purdue Federal Credit Union. And what's next? We're going to be at the Resource Fair from 10 to 12. It's in the Purdue Memorial Union South Ballroom. We sincerely hope to see you all there. Thank you so much for joining us, and boiler up.
Hammer down.
Thank you so much, Evod. Now, we'll move to our graduate panel discussion, what I wish I had known my first year of graduate school. Welcome our panelists with a round of applause. So I'm just going to go right into introduction first. So I'll start with the first person on my left.
Hi, I'm Shamoita Said. I started my grad school journey here at Purdue in 2021 and hoping to wrap up this fall. So fingers crossed for that. And I'm in the Department of Chemistry in the College of Science. And I work on drug development, designing those DNA therapies for retinal degeneration. So that's all about me.
Hi, I'm Bokar Fai, and I've started here in 2023, PhD in chemistry. And I work in the McLucky lab, working on mass spectrometry and developing methods for that. So it's been interesting.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julius Freeman. I am a 4th-year PhD candidate here in the Department of Communication. I primarily study media, politics, and organizations. Was there anything else? I think that's good.
Hello, everybody. My name is Artrey Turner. I started in 2023, current 4th year. I'm an engineering education PhD and a master's in industrial engineering.
Thank you very much. So since we are still talking about social life, my first question would go to Ate. What are common activities to improve our social lives as graduate students?
As you already heard, there's clubs and organizations. I highly recommend joining a club. I'm a part of the Salsa Club and the Swing Club, and I also am a part of my student government as the president. And also, through these clubs, you meet people and do activities, like I play board games with my friends. So just be active and be out there.
I agree. And I would like us to also find a balance between social life and our academic lives. So the next question is going to Julius. What are some common pitfalls leading to bad academic results during the first year?
Yeah, I have 2 quick things. I would say one of the pitfalls is saying yes to everything. You have many opportunities, research groups, clubs, all these different things, but you cannot say yes to everything. And because you will start to find that once you say yes to everything, everything has an expectation. Mm-hmm. And so you will not be able to meet all of them. And that will become frustrating and will start to affect you when you realize you can't meet all those expectations. The second thing is that along with that, build a schedule for yourself early. So each semester before you walk on campus, look at what you have, take stock of everything, and the worst thing you can do is not build that schedule, not build that plan for yourself. Because once you have that plan, everything falls into place, and it's easy to say no to those things because it doesn't work with the schedule and the plan that you have.
Thank you very much. I believe there would come a time in your life as a graduate student where you encounter challenges that you have absolute control over, but some other times you really do not have control over that. So my next question will go to Bukar. How do you deal with imposter syndrome?
That's a good one. So it kind of shows up a little differently for different people. For me personally, it's a bit more of a self-doubt. So my process is kind of to sit down and think through why I'm going through those feelings, thinking through the actual process of why they're coming up and things like that, and then start to think through what I'm doing to actually, to center myself and be here and why I'm here and what I'm doing and how I appreciate the work and anything that roots me in the process that I'm going through in my PhD program. All the things that I've learned along the way, that helps a lot to think through the knowledge that you've gained, the people that you've met, things like that, and how you do actually deserve that and you have worked hard to get there, so you have to remember that and actually center yourself through. So celebrate the little things as you actually go through and do that as well.
I agree with you. And there is a reality that being a graduate student is far, far different from life as an undergrad. So the next question, and that is to Somoita, is how did you manage living alone, managing your course, plus finances and PhD life? Did you have time to, let's say, play sports every day, visit Correct 247? Like, how did you manage balancing your life?
Well, first of all, I think I would say it's difficult to manage all of those things. So acknowledge that it's okay to feel overwhelmed with all those different type of things. And what helps, I guess, is having a support system like your cohort or your fellow community members that you are close with. So that helps with this navigation. And also definitely, like, I'm going to say that if you have a good schedule or like you know how to compartmentalize different chores, like your house chores, your research, your classes, that makes this navigation a little easier. And living alone, again, it is something I was not used to. So that can take some time. But if with living alone, I think what is important to figure out where you are living. So if you are living close to the campus, that's a different story. And if you're living a little bit farther away, look for the bus routes. That's kind of a way to help to build that schedule for yourself. So all the small things, I think, help me to figure out or navigate all these different responsibilities.
Good. I think I picked one word from your response, and that was support system. So I'm going to build up on that, and my next question will go to Julius. What is one resource, community, or opportunity at Purdue that you wish you had discovered earlier?
Yeah, one that I discovered last year that I wish I had known earlier was the Center for Career Opportunities. Sometimes you might think that it's just related to undergrad students, but they are here for everybody. And they are a center that will help you through the process that sometimes your advisor or other people may not have the time to sit and work with you on. You can set up an appointment and a time and meet with them just about your career. Maybe there's an internship that you're after. They'll help you set up a schedule and a plan on how you're going to accomplish that. What is the job that you want? Where do you want to go after you graduate? That is their whole job. That is their whole purpose for being here. And so when I found that, it helped me a lot, and I wish I had had it early on so that I could have started building the requisite, experiences that I needed for the career. But now that I have it, it's been really helpful to me.
So my advice to you this morning is take a cue from Julius's experience. Do not wait until you become a PhD candidate before exploring the resources available. And in the same line of thought, my next question would be to Ade. What separates the students who thrive in their first year from those, just a minute. What separates students who thrive in their first year from those who struggle? Is it habits, mindset, or something else?
I think the biggest difference is the ability to ask for help when you need it. You're going to struggle in ways you've never struggled before. And so it might be a course, it might be how to communicate with your advisor, your lab mates, it could be mental health. But being able to reach out and ask for that support will make a difference.
Perfect. Thank you. I think this question is very important because navigating health insurance and medical services could be quite challenging because it's not as straightforward as you might think. So this question will be to Shomoita. Do graduate students have access to Purdue medical services?
Oh yes, we definitely do. So each student needs to have a health insurance, and if you are an international student, you definitely have to have the insurance that is assigned by Purdue. So this is like the time that emails are going out for that, like you need to get your insurance sorted out. And we have pushed Purdue University health resources here. Like we have the medical center right at Purdue. So if you have an issues, you can go there, and you can also go to like IURNet or Franciscan and visit physician as well there. But I think one thing that needs to be reminded of is that make sure that possibly the physician is in network so that our health insurance covers that. So that's one bit of information you should look out if you are looking someone else who is not at push.
Thank you. According to the Office of Graduate Assistance under the OGSPS, advisor and student relationship forms the majority of inquiries or problems that come to their office. So I would like us to really talk about maintaining a good relationship between you and your supervisor. So this question is going to Ate. What do you think all first years should know about maintaining a relationship with their supervisor?
Setting communication expectations early is really important, both in understanding how they like to communicate. Some advisors want you to only email them. Some say, send me a message on Teams. Some say text them, because how you communicate will matter. And then what you communicate about. So some advisors may be more hands-on and might want every little question you have, but some definitely won't. And so really talking to them and understanding that line of when should I talk to my advisor, when should I talk to a lab mate, and when should I figure things out is important to figure out pretty early.
Thank you. As graduate students, our primary goal in Purdue is to make progress academically. And sometimes it can be frustrating when things are not going as planned. So my next question for Bukar would be, how do you stay motivated when you are not making progress in your research?
Yeah, research tends to move quite slow, well, depending on what field you're in, but it tends to move quite slow, so that's completely okay, and it's fine. That's just the nature of it. So what I personally do is I like to have a secondary side project that I kind of work on if my first one hits a roadblock and I kind of get stuck. I'm actually doing that right now. But I talk to my advisor, talk through it, talk to my lab mates, what's going on, why am I stuck, and try to see if there's something I'm overlooking, or maybe they figured out a method that actually would help me in my primary goal for the primary project, and that would help me out there. The other thing that some people don't think of, but I think is definitely very helpful, and I've used that, is to actually collaborate with someone else, because that is still a side project that still will help you as well. And then you get to learn whatever it is that they're learning along the way, as well as help you in your research and your learnings as you go through. So be collaborative, that also helps, and that will make you feel like you're still making progress, because you are, and that will eventually come back and help you in your primary goal as well.
Thank you. And with that, we've come to the end of our panel discussion this morning. I want to sincerely thank you all, to our panelists as well, for being with us this morning. We've talked a lot today about finding your way around Purdue and knowing where to turn and meeting new people. And now you'll get the chance to do some of that. The resource fair is next in the Purdue Memorial Union South Ballroom. Take some time to walk around, meet people, ask questions, and see what Purdue has to offer. We'll see you there soon, and I hope you have a great and blessed year ahead of you. Welcome once again to Purdue, and Buela Rap. Oh no, that was not good enough. That was not, we are not going to end on this note. Thank you, and I wish you a blessed year ahead. Buela Rap. That's better. Thank you all.